The night looked perfect. The mansion was shining under golden lights. Expensive cars were parked outside. Inside, music was loud. People in designer clothes laughed and held crystal glasses filled with sparkling drinks. This was not just a party. This was the Carter family's annual celebration, and everyone important was invited. In the center of the room stood Daniel Carter, tall, confident, smiling like the world belonged to him, because in many ways it did. He was the only son of Richard Carter, a powerful millionaire who owned hotels across the city. Daniel had never waited in line, never been told no, never been punished for bad behavior. Tonight, he was enjoying the attention. People laughed at his jokes. Girls followed him around. His father watched proudly from a distance. But near the kitchen door, someone else stood quietly. Maya. She wore simple clothes, nothing expensive. She stood beside her mother, who worked as the Carter family's housekeeper for years. Maya's mother moved quickly, carrying trays and cleaning small messes before anyone noticed. Maya was only there to help. To most guests, she was invisible. Some did not even look at her. Some looked and then looked away. Daniel noticed her, not because he cared, but because earlier that evening, something small had happened. Daniel had made a rude joke about one of the staff members. Most people laughed, but Maya did not. She simply looked at him, calm, no fear, no smile, just silence. And Daniel hated that. He hated when people did not react. He hated when someone did not admire him. Now, as the party grew louder, Daniel felt annoyed. He had been drinking. His face was slightly red, his voice louder than before. Across the room, Maya bent down to pick up a napkin that had fallen. Daniel walked toward her. Slow steps, heavy shoes on marble floor. Some guests noticed. Some whispered. Maya stood up and turned around. He was right there. "You think you're better than me?" Daniel asked, smiling, but his eyes were cold. Maya said nothing. "I saw that look," he continued. "You don't belong here." Still calm, still silent. Her mother saw them and froze. "Daniel, please," her mother said softly. But he ignored her. "You embarrass me," he said quietly to Maya. Then suddenly, he grabbed her arm. Hard. Gasps filled the air. Music was still playing, but people began to turn. Maya did not pull away. She looked at his hand, then at his face. "You should know your place," he whispered. And before anyone could stop him, he moved his hand from her arm to her throat. He wrapped his fingers around her neck. The room felt smaller. Some women screamed. A man dropped his glass. Maya's mother rushed forward, tears already in her eyes. "Stop, please." But something strange happened. Maya did not panic. She did not cry. Her breathing stayed steady. Her eyes did not show fear. They showed focus. Daniel squeezed tighter. "You think you're strong?" he mocked. But Maya's hands were not shaking. Because every morning at 5 a.m., while the world slept, she was somewhere else. In a small boxing gym. Sweat on her forehead. Gloves on her hands. Punching heavy bags. Training. Learning. Growing stronger. Her coach had once told her, real strength is calm. And right now, she was very calm. Daniel leaned closer, thinking he had control. But he did not see the small movement of her feet. He did not see how she adjusted her balance. He did not understand that her hands were not soft like he imagined. They were trained, disciplined, precise. The music slowly faded as people watched. Phones began recording. Daniel smiled, thinking he had one. Maya slowly raised her hand. Not in anger, not in fear, but with control. She gently touched his wrist. Her fingers tightened slightly. Not enough to hurt, just enough to measure. Daniel felt something change. Something unexpected. For the first time that night, he did not feel fully in control. Maya looked directly into his eyes. Her voice was calm. "Let go." Just 2 words. Simple, clear, strong. Daniel laughed nervously. But deep inside, something told him he had just made a mistake. A big one. Because the girl he thought was weak was not weak at all. And this party was about to change everything. The room was still. Daniel's hand was still around Maya's throat. But something had changed. It was not fear in her eyes. It was control. And that control did not come from nowhere. It came from years of silence. Years of watching. Years of swallowing pain without speaking. Maya did not grow up in a mansion. She grew up in a small apartment with cracked walls and thin windows that let cold air inside during winter. Her mother worked long hours cleaning houses like this one. Rich houses, big houses, houses where people did not even notice her. Maya noticed everything. She noticed how guests spoke kindly to her mother when Mr. Carter was watching. She noticed how their tone changed when he left the room. She noticed how people said, "Thank you," without looking into her mother's eyes. But her mother never complained. "Stay quiet. Work hard. Life will reward you," her mother always said. Maya believed her. At school, it was not much different. Her clothes were simple. Her shoes were not the newest. Some students whispered. Some laughed. Some called her names. Maya never fought back. She never argued. She never cried in front of them. But one day changed everything. She was 15 when 3 girls locked her in the school bathroom. They pushed her, threw her bag on the floor. One of them grabbed her by the collar and said, "You think you're better than us?" It sounded familiar. That same sentence. The same tone Daniel used tonight. That day, something inside Maya broke. Not in anger, indecision. After school, instead of going straight home, she walked past a small gym near her neighborhood. The sign outside said, "Boxing classes, beginners welcome." She stood outside for 5 minutes, watching, listening to the sound of gloves hitting heavy bags. Boom, boom, boom. Each punch sounded like release. She walked inside. The coach looked at her thin arms and tired face. "You sure?" he asked. She nodded. That was the beginning. At first, she was weak. Her arms hurt. Her legs shook. She fell more times than she could count. But she kept coming. Every morning before school. Every evening after homework. While others slept, she trained. While others partied, she practiced footwork. The coach noticed something special. Not power, not speed, but focus. She listened carefully. She learned quickly. She did not complain. She never missed training. "Why do you box?" the coach once asked. She thought for a moment. "So no one can touch me again," she answered. From that day, the coach trained her harder. He taught her how to stay calm under pressure, how to control breathing, how to protect her neck, how to break someone's grip safely, how to move before the opponent even understands. Maya entered small amateur competitions. She did not tell many people, not even her mother at first. She won quietly. Small medals, small trophies, nothing fancy, but every win made her stronger inside. Back at the mansion, Daniel continued living his perfect life. He bought expensive watches. He crashed a car once and blamed the driver. He insulted workers when his mood was bad, and nobody stopped him because he was Richard Carter's son. But tonight, he had made a mistake. He did not know the girl standing in front of him had fought in real rings. He did not know she had stood under bright lights before. He did not know she had faced opponents twice her size. He did not know she had been hit before, hard, and stayed standing. Back in the present moment, in the middle of the party, his fingers were still pressing against her throat. But his grip was not as strong as he thought. Maya's breathing was steady. Inhale, exhale, just like training. Daniel leaned closer again. "Say something," he whispered angrily. Maya slowly tightened her hold around his wrist. Not enough to break it, just enough to let him feel her strength. His smile faded slightly. Some guests were whispering now. Phones were still recording. Her mother stood frozen, afraid of losing her job. Daniel tried to squeeze harder, but his hand did not move the way he wanted. Maya shifted her weight. Small movement. Precise. Calculated. Daniel felt his balance change. Just a little. For the first time in his life. He felt unsure. Maya looked into his eyes again. Calm. Focused. Ready. Because the girl who never complained had finally decided she was done staying silent. And Daniel was seconds away from understanding exactly who he was dealing with. The music was still playing, but nobody was dancing anymore. All eyes were on Daniel, and on the girl whose name most people did not even know. His fingers were still around her throat, but his control was slipping. Maya felt it. She felt the small shake in his wrist. She saw the doubt in his eyes. Daniel noticed the whispers. He noticed the phones pointing at him. He hated that. He hated looking weak. So he squeezed harder. "You think you can look at me like that?" he said loudly. His voice was not confident anymore. It was angry. Maya did not answer. Her breathing stayed calm. Inhale. Exhale. Just like the gym. Daniel did not understand why she was not fighting back. He expected tears. He expected fear. He expected her to beg. Instead, she was studying him, watching his shoulders, watching his balance, watching the way his weight leaned slightly forward, just like her coach had taught her. Wait for the mistake, the coach always said. Daniel made it. He tightened his grip with only one hand and leaned closer to her face. That was enough. In one smooth movement, Maya raised her right hand. Not fast, not wild, controlled. She turned her body slightly to the side. Her left foot moved back half a step. Her right hand wrapped around his thumb. Her fingers pressed exactly where they needed to. Then, she twisted. Not violently, not dramatically, just correctly. Daniel's fingers opened. His grip broke. The room gasped. It happened so quickly that some guests did not understand what they saw. 1 second he was choking her. The next second, his hand was free, and Maya was standing straight, untouched. Daniel looked at his own hand in shock. Ow, he started, but his pride did not allow him to finish. Anger took over. His face turned red. You think you can touch me? He shouted. Now he was embarrassed, and a spoiled man who feels embarrassed is dangerous. He pushed her shoulder. Hard. This time Maya stepped back smoothly, balanced, calm. People began to move away, creating a circle around them. Phones were recording clearly now. Someone whispered, "Call security." But nobody stepped in. Daniel lifted his fist. Not trained, not steady, just angry. He swung at her. Wild. Maya saw it coming before he even moved. His shoulder lifted first. His elbow opened too wide. His weight shifted wrong. She slipped to the side. The punch hit nothing but air. Daniel stumbled forward. More gasps. More whispers. His face showed confusion now. He tried again. Another punch. Slower this time. More desperate. Maya blocked it gently with her forearm. She did not hit him. Not yet. She gave him a chance to stop. But Daniel did not know how to stop. He rushed at her again, this time trying to grab her hair. That was his final mistake. Maya's body moved automatically. Training took over. She stepped inside his reach. Her left hand controlled his arm. Her right hand pulled back slightly. Her feet were planted perfectly. And then, one clean punch. Straight. Sharp. Precise. Not full power. Just enough. Her fist connected with his jaw. The sound was clear. Daniel's head snapped slightly to the side. His eyes went wide. His knees weakened. And then, he fell. Right there. On the polished marble floor. Silence filled the mansion. The music stopped completely. Nobody laughed. Nobody moved. The spoiled son of a millionaire was on the ground. In front of everyone. Maya did not smile. She did not celebrate. She simply stepped back. Hands relaxed. Breathing steady. Daniel slowly touched his jaw. His pride was hurt more than his face. How dare you, he whispered. But his voice was weak. People were whispering louder now. He attacked her first. She warned him. Did you see that punch? His father, Richard Carter, pushed through the crowd. His expensive suit sharp. His face furious. What is going on here? He demanded. He saw his son on the floor. He saw Maya standing. He saw the phones recording. His eyes darkened. Maya's mother rushed to her side. Fear covered her face. Maya, what have you done? She whispered. But Maya knew something important. She had done nothing wrong. She had defended herself. And, for the first time in her life, she did not feel small. She did not feel invisible. She felt strong. Daniel slowly stood up. Humiliated. Angry. Shaking. He looked at her with pure hatred. This isn't over, he said quietly. And the way he said it made the room colder. Because this was not just about a punch anymore. This was about power, reputation, pride, and revenge. The party that was meant to celebrate wealth had just exposed weakness. And Daniel Carter was not the kind of person who forgave humiliation. Not ever. The silence in the mansion felt heavy. Daniel's hand was still near Maya's throat. But now it was shaking. Not because he was afraid. Because he was confused. He had never felt resistance before. Never felt someone stand so still under his power. Around them, the guests were frozen. Some were whispering. Some were recording. The music had completely stopped. Maya slowly twisted her wrist. One clean movement. Daniel's grip broke. It happened so fast that most people did not even understand what they saw. 1 second his hand was around her neck. The next second, his hand was pushed away like it was nothing. Gasps filled the room. Daniel stepped back, shocked. "How did you?" he started, but he did not finish. His pride was hurt. And for Daniel Carter, that was worse than pain. He rushed forward again, angry now, his face red, his ego louder than his mind. He swung his arm toward her. Not trained, not controlled, just angry. Maya moved smoothly, like water. She stepped to the side. The punch missed completely. Daniel almost lost balance. A few guests murmured. Someone whispered, "She's fast." Daniel turned quickly, embarrassed. "You think this is funny?" he shouted. Maya said nothing. Her hands were now slightly raised. Not aggressive, not attacking, just ready. Her feet adjusted on the marble floor. Left foot back, right foot forward. Perfect balance. Her coach's voice echoed in her memory. "Stay calm. Let them make mistakes." Daniel charged again, this time faster, but still wild. He tried to grab her shoulder. Maya blocked his arm with a sharp, clean movement. Then, it happened. One punch. Simple, straight, precise. Her fist moved forward with perfect form. Not too much force. Just enough. It landed directly on Daniel's chest, right in the center. A solid sound echoed in the room. Daniel's body froze for half a second. Then he stumbled backward. His expensive shoes slid on the marble floor. And in front of everyone, the millionaire's son fell. Hard. The room exploded in shock. Some women covered their mouths. A man said, "Oh my God." Phones moved closer. Daniel lay on the floor, staring at the ceiling. Not badly hurt, but humiliated, more than ever before in his life. He slowly tried to stand up, but his legs were weak. Not from pain, from disbelief. He had never been knocked down. Never in school. Never in sports. Never in life. Maya stood where she was, breathing steady, not celebrating, not smiling, just calm. Her mother ran toward her. "Maya, stop, please." But Maya had already stopped. She had never wanted to fight. She only wanted him to let go. Daniel's father, Richard Carter, pushed through the crowd. His face was full of anger. "What is going on here?" he demanded. He looked at his son on the floor. Then at Maya. "You attacked my son," he said loudly. The crowd stayed silent, but the phones were still recording. One brave guest spoke softly. "He grabbed her first." Another voice added, "She was defending herself." Richard Carter's jaw tightened. He helped Daniel stand up. Daniel looked at Maya with burning eyes. "This isn't over," he said quietly, but his voice did not sound strong anymore. It sounded shaken. Maya finally spoke. Her voice was calm and clear. "I warned you." Just 3 words. Simple. Strong. The power in the room had changed. Before, everyone saw Daniel as untouchable. Now they had seen him fall. They had seen someone stand up to him. And not just anyone. The housekeeper's daughter. Whispers spread through the crowd. "Who is she? How did she do that? She fights." Richard Carter looked around and realized something important. Too many people had seen. Too many people had recorded. This was not something he could quietly erase. Daniel adjusted his jacket, trying to look confident again. But his hands were still slightly shaking. For the first time in his life, he understood something new. Money could buy power, but it could not buy respect. Maya looked at her mother. "I'm okay," she said softly. But deep inside, she knew something else. This was not finished. Daniel's pride was broken, and a broken ego can be dangerous. As security began clearing the guests, the whispers grew louder. By morning, this night would not stay inside these walls, because one punch had changed his status forever, and the world was about to find out who Maya really was. By midnight, the party was over. But the story had just begun. Inside his private office, Richard Carter stood near the window, looking down at the city lights. His face was calm, too calm. Daniel sat on the leather couch, an ice pack on his jaw. His pride hurt more than his body. "She humiliated me," Daniel said through his teeth. In front of everyone. Richard did not turn around. "You embarrassed yourself," he replied coldly. Daniel looked shocked. "She hit me. You grabbed her first," his father said. And people recorded it. That word made the room heavy. Recorded. Richard walked to his desk and opened his phone. There it was. Videos already spreading. Clips of Daniel grabbing Maya. Clips of her breaking his grip. Clips of the punch. The comments were worse. She defended herself. Rich boy finally learned a lesson. Respect her. Daniel's face went pale. This can't go public, he said quickly. It already has, Richard answered. He leaned back in his chair. For now, we stay quiet. But Daniel was not the type to stay quiet. The next morning, Maya's mother received a message. She was fired. No warning. No explanation. Just one cold sentence. Your services are no longer required. Her hands trembled as she read it. Maya saw the message. She felt a wave of guilt. This is my fault, she said softly. Her mother shook her head. No, you defended yourself. But fear filled their small apartment. Rent was due soon. Bills were waiting. Meanwhile, in the Carter mansion, Daniel was not satisfied. He wanted more than silence. He wanted control back. He called a lawyer. She attacked me, Daniel said confidently. I want to press charges. The lawyer hesitated. Sir, the video shows you choking her first. Daniel slammed his fist on the table. I don't care. Do something. But the world was moving faster than Daniel expected. By afternoon, the video had millions of views. News pages shared it. Local reporters began asking questions. One headline read, Millionaire's son caught attacking young woman at private party. Daniel's name was everywhere. So was Maya's. At first, she felt scared seeing her face online. But then something surprising happened. Support. Strangers were defending her. She stayed calm. She warned him. She protected herself. One comment stood out. Does anyone know who she is? She fights like a trained boxer. Her coach saw the video too. He called immediately. Maya, he said, proud but serious. You moved perfectly. She stayed silent. You did what I taught you, he continued. You stayed calm. I didn't want trouble, she whispered. I know, he replied. But sometimes standing up creates noise. Back at the Carter house, Richard's phone would not stop ringing. Business partners were concerned. Sponsors were asking questions. One major client sent a clear message. We do not support violence. Richard realized something important. This was not just a family problem anymore. It was a business problem. He looked at Daniel sharply. You will stay inside. No interviews. No statements. Daniel clenched his jaw. But inside, anger was building. He felt exposed. He felt weak. He hated the comments praising Maya. He hated the sympathy she was getting. He hated losing control. Late that night, he posted something online. A short message. She attacked me without reason. The video is edited. Within minutes, people replied with full footage. The truth was clear. Daniel deleted the post. But the damage was done. Meanwhile, at home, Maya received another message. This time from a local boxing promoter. We saw the video. Are you interested in a public match? She stared at the screen. A public match? Her heart beat faster. Not from fear. From opportunity. Her coach smiled when she told him. Life just opened a door, he said. But Maya knew something else. Daniel would not stop here. He had money, power, connections, and a wounded ego. The next morning, a legal letter arrived at her door. Daniel was officially accusing her of assault. Her mother looked terrified. Maya took a deep breath. For years, she had trained to protect herself physically. Now, she would need to protect herself in a different way. The fight was no longer just in a mansion. It was everywhere. On screens. In courtrooms. In headlines. Daniel thought he was planning revenge. But he did not understand something. Every move he made was pushing Maya closer to something bigger. And this story was far from over. The legal letter was only the beginning. For days, the city talked about nothing else. News channels replayed the video again and again. Social media argued nonstop. Some people defended Daniel. Most stood with Maya. But Daniel was not finished. If he could not silence her, he would try to defeat her. Publicly. One afternoon, a new post appeared on Daniel's official account. A photo of him inside a private gym. Boxing gloves on his hands. Jaw tight. Caption. If she thinks she's strong, prove it in the ring. Charity match. Live. Within minutes, it went viral. Some called it brave. Most called it desperate. Maya saw the post while sitting in her small kitchen. Her mother looked worried. This is what he wants, her mother said. Another show. But Maya felt something different. This was not about ego. This was about clearing her name. The legal case was still open. Daniel's team was trying to paint her as violent. But a public match with rules and judges, that could change everything. Her coach called again. Did you see it? He asked. Yes. What do you think? Maya looked out the window. She remembered the party, the choking, the fall, the humiliation in Daniel's eyes. I think he wants revenge, she said. The coach was quiet for a moment. Or maybe, he replied, he wants his pride back. A charity organization announced they would host the match. It would raise money for youth sports programs. Smart move. Now it looked noble, not personal. Daniel began training immediately, but his training was different. Private trainers, expensive equipment, luxury gym. He posted short clips online, punching bags, running on treadmills, lifting heavy weights. The comments were mixed. He's serious now. He just wants attention. But training for attention is not the same as training for survival. Maya's training stayed the same. Old gym, worn out floor, sweat on concrete. Her coach was stricter than ever. No anger, he told her. No revenge in your mind. I'm not angry, she said. Good. Because anger makes mistakes. They worked on defense, footwork, patience. Remember, her coach said, circling her slowly, he will come at you fast. He wants to look strong. Maya nodded. I know. She had already seen how Daniel moved when he was emotional. Wild. Uncontrolled. That would not change overnight. But something else worried her. The pressure. This was no small gym match. It would be streamed online. Crowds watching. Reporters asking questions. Her mother saw the fear hiding behind her calm face. You don't have to do this, her mother said gently. Maya smiled. I'm not doing it for him. Then for who? For me. For years, she had stayed quiet. Stayed small. Stayed invisible. Now the world knew her name. She would not run from it. The day of the press conference arrived. Bright lights. Cameras flashing. Daniel wore a sharp black suit. Maya wore simple jeans and a clean white shirt. Reporters asked questions loudly. Daniel, why challenge her? He adjusted the microphone. I just want fairness. Let's settle it properly. Some reporters raised eyebrows. They remembered the video. Then they turned to Maya. Are you afraid? She looked calm. No. Why accept? She paused. Because respect matters. The room went silent for a second. Daniel smirked. Don't cry when you lose, he whispered as cameras flashed. Maya did not respond. Back at the gym that night, her coach looked serious. This is bigger than a fight, he said. I know. If you win, people will say you proved a point. And if I lose, they will try to erase everything. She took a deep breath. Pressure pressed against her chest. But she remembered something important. She had already faced worse. Bullying. Humiliation. Fear. This was just a ring. Just lights. Just gloves. Daniel, meanwhile, stared at himself in the mirror in his luxury bedroom. He practiced shadowboxing, imagining the crowd cheering his name, imagining headlines saying, Millionaire's son redeems himself. He needed that. He needed control back. But deep inside, he still remembered the punch. The clean one. The one that sent him to the floor. And that memory made him train harder. The night before the fight, both of them lay awake. Different rooms. Different lives. Same tension. Tomorrow, there would be no mansion. No excuses. No hiding behind lawyers. Just two people. In a ring. Under bright lights. And when the bell rang, only one story would stand. The gym was packed. Bright lights hung from the ceiling. Cameras were ready. Reporters stood near the ring. The crowd buzzed with excitement and tension. This was no longer just gossip. This was the fight everyone had been waiting for. Daniel Carter walked in first. Expensive robe. Confident smile. Head high. Some people cheered. Some stayed silent. He climbed into the ring and raised his gloves in the air. He wanted to look strong. He wanted control back. But his eyes kept searching for one person. Maya. A few seconds later, she walked in. No fancy robe. No loud music. Just focus. Her gloves were simple. Her steps were steady. Her face was calm. The crowd reacted differently this time. Not loud. Not wild. But respectful. Because they had seen the video. They had seen her stand up. She climbed into the ring and looked across at Daniel. No anger, no fear, just quiet strength. The referee stepped between them. Clean fight. Follow the rules. Protect yourselves. Both nodded. They touched gloves. Daniel pulled his glove back quickly. The bell rang. Round 1. Daniel came forward fast. Too fast. His punches were strong, but wild. He wanted to end it quickly. He wanted to prove something. Maya moved lightly. Side step. Back step. Her eyes never left his shoulders. She blocked 2 punches easily. The crowd noticed. Daniel grew more frustrated. He threw another heavy punch. She slipped under it smoothly. The crowd gasped. Control. Her coach shouted from the corner. She listened. She waited. Daniel's breathing was already heavier. Round 1 ended with Daniel swinging hard. Maya had not thrown a single real punch yet. Round 2. Daniel rushed again. But this time, Maya moved differently. She stepped in. Quick. Sharp. A clean jab to his face. Not hard. Just accurate. The crowd reacted loudly. Daniel blinked. Surprised. He attacked again. Maya blocked. Then another jab. And another. Simple. Precise. His movements became slower. His confidence started to crack. By round 3, sweat covered Daniel's face. His punches lost speed. His footwork became messy. Maya stayed calm. She remembered every early morning, every painful training session, every time she stayed silent when people laughed at her. This was not just a fight. This was years of patience. Daniel threw one last desperate combination. Wild. Unbalanced. Maya saw the opening clearly. She stepped to the side, turned her body, and delivered one strong, clean right hook. It landed perfectly. Daniel stumbled backward. The crowd stood up. He tried to stay standing, but his legs betrayed him. He fell. Hard. The referee began counting. 1, 2, 3. Daniel tried to rise. He pushed against the mat, but his body would not respond. 7, 8. He looked up at the lights. Bright. Blinding. For the first time in his life. He felt powerless. 9, 10. The bell rang loudly. The fight was over. The crowd exploded. Some cheered loudly. Some clapped with respect. Maya stepped back. She did not raise her arms wildly. She did not scream. She simply stood there, breathing steady. The referee lifted her hand. Winner. Her mother cried in the front row. Tears of relief. Tears of pride. Daniel slowly stood up with help. His face showed something new. Not anger. Not ego. Something softer. He looked at Maya. Really looked at her. Not as a housekeeper's daughter. Not as someone beneath him. But as someone stronger. He walked toward her slowly. The gym went quiet. He removed his glove. Held out his hand. I was wrong, he said quietly. The words were simple. But heavy. Maya looked at him. She saw no fake smile. No arrogance. Just humility. She shook his hand. The cameras captured everything. The headlines the next day were different. From invisible to champion. Housekeeper's daughter wins with dignity. But the real victory was not the belt. Not the applause. It was something deeper. Respect. Daniel learned something that night. Money can buy power, but cannot buy strength. Strength is earned. Through pain. Through discipline. Through staying calm when others lose control. As the crowd slowly left the gym, Maya hugged her mother tightly. You did it, her mother whispered. Maya smiled softly. No, she replied. We did, because she was never just a housekeeper's daughter. She was a fighter. And now, the whole world knew it.